Okay, no, I think these are on too. Yeah, they are on. Yeah. No, it's good. It's like 2:15. Got it. Barry told me he's going to like pull me out. Or get me out. It's all good. We're just going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right. Cool. We good? Sure.
Hey everybody, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So Gary, he actually put together the entire pitch workshop or pitch competition last night. So we're gonna turn it over to him.
Cool. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. All right, cool. Can everybody hear me okay? Mic is good? Yeah? Do I need to get closer to it? All right, cool. Appreciate it. All right, how y'all feeling? Good? Is the Level Up Summit, good so far? Have you leveled up already? Are you still waiting to get to the next level, or what's going on? You're getting there. All right, well, hopefully I can help a little bit. All right, so again, my name is Gary. I'm gonna be hosting today's Pitch 101 workshop. And just like Barry said, last night we actually had the first ever pitch competition during the Level Up Summit, where 5 Black-owned startup businesses, Philly-based businesses, competed for a prize of $3,000. Yeah, so you missed it. I know you missed out. But I would like us to do more of that, right? So that was just the beginning. But the whole point was to who won? Oh yeah, actually, hopefully he comes. Is he in here?
He's gone.
Oh, he left. His name, so his name is Tapiwa. I forget his last name. But he is a Drexel graduated last year, and he has a company called Kumba Africa. And Kumba Africa is basically a platform very similar to Airbnb, where he's curating experiences for primarily Black people to travel back to the motherland and have some really awesome experiences traveling, going on excursions and that kind of cool stuff. Sound pretty cool? And he's dope because everybody who presented was absolutely amazing. Because they're all super creative, they're innovative, and they're hustlers, right? From right here in our community. And not only are they successful with their own businesses, but they're employing people in the community too, right? So they're lifting as they climb, as I like to say. So we're actually gonna talk about that a little bit in the presentation. So I wanted to create this opportunity to help other people understand what it takes to create a successful pitch. And that's whether you're an entrepreneur or maybe you work in corporate, right? And you have to pitch ideas to your boss or whatever. Everybody's always selling something. So I wanted to put something together that kind of helped everybody. Cool? All right, so before we get started, so raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur. Aspiring entrepreneurs, raise your hands. Okay. Raise your hand if you work in corporate. Okay. Nonprofit. What am I missing? Anything? Government. Good one. Government. Cool. Anything else?
You work for yourself.
You work for yourself? Yeah. Right. Entrepreneur. I thought I covered that. It's like, no, that's okay.
Well, you said entrepreneur.
Got you. Very true. Thank you. But yes, so let's jump into it because we don't have a lot of time, but I would like for this to be interactive, right? I want to help you all, and I want to provide an opportunity for you to help each other. So I'll give you a little bit of my background to give you some, hopefully give myself some credibility as to why I'm up here presenting. But again, I'm Gary. I have a master's in entrepreneurship and design from the University of Delaware, class of 2018. And I'm very passionate about using entrepreneurship as a tool to empower our community, right? So while I was at the university, I discovered entrepreneurship, right? I knew that there was like small business ownership, but I didn't know about the process of starting a business, the process of going out into the world, finding a problem, and then developing a solution, right? So I love everything about that process. I love being user-centered, and I have found a knack for public speaking and presenting, but it came with time. So after traveling the country, going to different conferences and interviewing Black and brown entrepreneurs in different communities everywhere from New York to California, I realized that there was this disparity in access to capital, access to opportunity, and just access to resources for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. So I wanted to do something about it, and I wanted to start with my community. So I live in Delaware currently, but I'm actually from Pennsylvania. But I started this thing called the First Founders Accelerator. And the First Founders Accelerator is a 12-week startup bootcamp where we're preparing early stage entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs to develop scalable businesses, right? So where I live, there are a lot of resources for more traditional small businesses and small business owners, but there weren't a lot of resources for aspiring entrepreneurs who maybe wanted to leverage technology in some kind of way, right? And we have some awesome entrepreneurs here who hopefully share a little bit about what they're doing so you get an understanding of what that means. But I went out into the community and I talked to the entrepreneurs, and I got the understanding that they were struggling to find these resources that they knew existed, right? They knew that people had the money. They knew that people had the co-working spaces and all these different things, but they weren't being provided the access to those spaces and that money. So then I would go to those resource providers and I would say, hey, we have these entrepreneurs. You're saying you support innovation and entrepreneurship in our community. So what are you doing to support them? And everybody has different excuses. Some people say they can't find people of color. They can't find black people who are entrepreneurs to benefit from the resources. And of course, that's not true, right? That's just an excuse. They would say, and this excuse, I don't hold this against them, but they say they don't have the capacity to put together the programming and actually work with these entrepreneurs and develop these entrepreneurs. So I said, okay, I'm going to fill that gap between the entrepreneurs looking for resources and the resource providers saying they don't have the capacity, and I'm going to build this thing called the First Founders Accelerator, where we're going to give the entrepreneurs education, right? I'm going to teach them 12 weeks of how to pitch your idea, how to solve a problem, how to identify problems in the first place, how to develop a solution, how to talk to your customers, right, and really understand their pain points and their needs, and then how to raise funding. So we do all of that over the course of 12 weeks. They also get mentorship from experienced business leaders in the community who actually look like them. Because another problem I found was that people were going to places like the SBDC, which has a lot of great resources. But in Delaware, for example, the mentors and people who are helping out there, they don't identify with us, right? So you have a black entrepreneur who goes to the SBDC and they say, hey, I have this idea for a hair company where we're going to leverage technology and use data to analyze hair strands of black women and women of color, and then be in a better position to recommend the right products and services for their hair and help them find hairstylists in their communities. And then the mentors that are across the table are saying, well, I don't understand what the problem is, right? Like, I know where the salon is, right? Like, I have straight hair. I know where to go. I know what to do with that, right? So they don't understand the problems that we have in the way that we do, right? And we don't understand their problems, and that's just nature. That's totally fine. But there was definitely that disconnect. So we put together this whole program, and I partnered with our local county government and their economic development arm to get funding for the program. We supported 8 entrepreneurs throughout the 12 weeks, and they graduated, and it was absolutely amazing. So they had this whole demo day at the end where you stand up in front of a crowd. So we invited the whole community, and they got to present where their businesses were after that 12 weeks of education, and they provided an ask. Right, so whenever you present, you usually provide an ask at the end. So my ask to you all is to support each other and then have a little bit of something else at the end. But anyway, also throughout my journey, I've participated in a bunch of pitch competitions as well, myself. So when I first started out, I was bad. I was really, really bad. And I get that, right? But it is a process, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit more after this slide, but here are 3 competitions that I was actually lucky enough to either I won. I won in all 3 of these competitions. So one was a competition called HBCU to Startup. That was at Prairie View A&M University in Texas. I flew out there as a grad student and participated and won that pitch competition. My university, the University of Delaware, has a pitch competition called Hen Hatch, where they have a prize pool of $100,000 that students and alumni can compete for. So I was a part of a team that won 2nd place in their alumni track, and we won $17,000. And then actually this year, I made it to the final 5 for a competition hosted by Jackie Aina, who's a YouTuber, makeup artist. She's a boss just all around. So she and a few other celebrities out in California, in LA, hosted a competition where they flew us all out, and I was able to win that competition as well. So thank you. So this workshop is to help you understand what helped me get to a point where I could start winning, but hopefully you can use what's useful for you. So as I mentioned, when I was first starting out, I was not good at pitching, but I did understand that it was a way for me to develop myself, right, and my professional skills. So even though I was losing these pitch competitions during my undergrad years, I saw the value in it, and I knew that people, especially young men who look like me in the community, could benefit from these opportunities as well. So in the city of Wilmington, at the time, it was being branded as like Murder Town, USA. So they were actually about to create a Netflix special about Wilmington, Delaware called Murder Town, USA. And I was like, how horrible is it that we're telling the young men and women in our community that they're growing up in Murder Town, right? When I actually know that these young kids are amazing, they have incredible potential. There are a lack of resources and opportunities for them, but we can do something about that. So I wanted to create this thing called the I Have a Dream pitch competition that I host every year. It's now in its 3rd annual year. And basically, we create a platform for young men of color ages 8 to 18 to stand up in front of an audience and say, hey, this is my idea for a business, and they can compete and they can win up to $1,000. And the judges are all black men who they can identify with. So that was really awesome for me, right? Like I love empowering other people, but then it was also awesome just to have like moms of these young men come up and say like, thank you, like we need something like this, and it's absolutely necessary, right? So that was kind of like one of my first entrepreneurial endeavors. As I mentioned here, this is the hen hatch competition where myself and my frat brothers, we formed a team and decided to compete in this competition when we weren't even working on a business, right? We saw the applications were open and we said, all right, look, let's just apply, right? Let's do it. Let's secure a bag real quick. So we got together and we said, all right, what are all the ideas we have, right? Is anybody working on anything, or have you had an idea that you would like to start working on? And we eventually, voted to work on this one idea called Smart Book. A Smart Book was this concept where we saw that children's books didn't always represent diverse characters and diverse youth. So we wanted to leverage technology, right, to basically scan the image of a parent's child, and we were going to insert that image into the storybook and allow the parents to customize the story based on what the kid, was interested in. So we created a whole concept and a whole like business plan and business model around it, and a whole pitch. And we made it to the semifinals and the finals, and eventually won a little bit of money, and that was pretty cool. And then the most recent pitch competition, like I said, was this year. So this is me with Jackie and her boyfriend. But it was it was super cool just because, like, I don't know, just for me, like it's always validation just to know that people see value in your ideas, right? So just to have made it to the final 5 and been like flown out to California and having been able to stay in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills and like looking down on LA and hanging out with like celebrities and stuff, like that was pretty cool too. But it was one of those like, it was another like defining moment in like my like career thus far, just because, I'm currently working on a concept that's still in development, but I wasn't super confident in myself up until it was time for me to actually get up there and pitch. And I said, you know what, it's now or never. Like I was granted this opportunity for a reason, so I need to, knock it out the park. And I guess I did. So really quickly, I've kind of put together some rules or some kind of like principles that I would like everybody to kind of follow, at least while you're in this workshop. The first one, can anybody guess what this means? Trust the process.
Oh, wow.
Trust the process, right? Who said that, by the way? Congratulations. Yeah, so trust the process, right? And that's just that, entrepreneurship is difficult, right? But there is a process that you can follow that is proven to show results in different ways for different people, right? And I just ask that you are at least open to learning and at least trying it out. Middle one, anybody?
Keep it real.
Keep it real, tell the truth. That's it, right? So in entrepreneurship, as I said, it's already difficult. We know it's hard. So there's no need to front and pretend like everything is all good. We're all struggling, right? Like I'm struggling right now. David, I was just hearing about your story, right? Everybody's struggling in different ways, right? But it's all about persevering and getting through it. But the whole point is that we have a community here to support each other. And I just ask that you share what you need help with so that we can help you. And then last, can anybody guess what that one is? Actually, I already said it.
Kim.
What is it? Kim, keep it moving.
Yeah. Keep climbing. Keep it moving.
It's kind of both. It's both. Yes. So it's lift as you climb, right? That person isn't actually lifting anything, so I get it. But it's lift as you climb, and that's just that. As you go through this process of learning, you share that knowledge with somebody else and bring somebody else up with you. That's it. This is my way of doing that. All right, we good? Cool. All right, so basically, I have kind of boiled it down to these 3 C's that are necessary to create a winning pitch, right? And those, simply put, are confidence, credibility, and clarity. All right? So confidence, can anybody tell me what that means to you?
Just being sure of what you actually know. You're well versed in it, so it
For
gives
sure.
you confidence.
For sure. Anybody else?
Believing in your product or whatever you're pitching, because if you don't believe in it, nobody else will.
That's a big fact. That is a big fact. It's like, if you don't even believe in it, why should I care, right?
Looking nice and speaking.
Oh, looking nice. All right, so I was like, do I?
We understand.
Okay, all right. We won't go there. Anybody else? No? I appreciate that. All right, next one, credibility. What's that about? What does that mean to you? Experience?
Well, I was in business for 20 years, and I always say my business lasted for 20 years because I was credible. And the one thing I always tell young people is that everything you do, you're always writing a resume for people to judge you, so you want to always do your best.
Right.
And your credibility will propel you. But if
Absolutely.
you're not credible, that too will propel you.
That's a fact, big fact. Anybody else? Yep.
If you say your product is going to do something, make sure your product does it. Because I hate when I go buy something, spend my hard-earned money, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I just read all these good reviews, and now I'm stuck with a product that's not useful.
Yeah, so that takes away from your credibility, for sure. Somebody else, raise their
I
hand.
have the same answer.
Oh, okay.
I leave reviews too, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I have the same exact answer.
Oh, so you'll be like, you're the one that take the time out of your day.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. Multiple platforms. Yep.
All of them. Okay. Got it. Cool. Anyone else?
I think credibility is also about being honest about what you can and cannot do.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's
I agree.
really important to, if you can't do it, you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be able to, but don't say you can do something that you can't.
That's huge. I've been in pitches where I've said, I've been in investor pitches. An investor will say, well, what are you going to do about blah, blah, blah? And I've said, actually, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And then I'll get back to you, right, with an answer, a better answer. And that has added credibility to me, right? To be able to say and be honest and authentic that I don't know the answer right now, but at least I'm going to try and figure it out, right? So people see a lot of value in that too. Anyone else on that point? All right, how about clarity?
It's being concise and clear when you're conveying your idea or your pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't explain your idea in like one sentence or two, you need to.
Yes. Has anybody, you ever have like a friend and they're like, yo, I got an idea for a business, and they give you the pitch and they go ramble on and they're talking about all these different things, and you're like, I don't even know what you just told me. I don't even know what you were talking about.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When they explain it to me, I can think of like 3 different businesses inside that one pitch. I'm like,
Word. You're making it more complicated, right?
I can't even say how important, even some of the great things I've heard today, I got confused sometimes by the person who originally told me who they were and what they did, because it was too convoluted.
Gotcha.
Like I always tell my kids, keep it simple, stupid.
Right,
Don't
right.
just really simplify things.
Yep.
Because it'll literally take on a life of its own if you do that, but other than that, you just overwhelm people with
Yeah.
stuff, and then they gotta try and cherry pick
Yep.
the truth out of whatever it is.
We got to know what it is, what message you're trying to convey, right? And then especially like if you have an ask or a need that you're trying to get to, like I need to be able to understand what that is to be able to help you. Anyone else?
That's
No?
pretty much it.
Cool, that's it, that's it. So yeah, so simply put, with whatever you're pitching, I think these are the main three things that you need to include. But of course, it matters who you're pitching to, right? So it depends on what the context is. It depends on what you're trying to pitch. It depends what you're trying to get out of it, right? But another thing that's been incredibly helpful for me as well is telling a story, right? So when it comes to clarifying what it is you're trying to talk about, relating it or getting the message across by using a story, right? Like relating it to something else or telling a story about maybe how a user uses your product and how their problem is solved from using that product is a good way of clarifying what exactly you do and why it's necessary that people use this thing, right? Or listen to you. So I think I have a story to tell you. This one's pretty quick. But this was actually my first pitch competition I ever did during undergrad. And I was pitching a concept that was like a fitness app, and we were gonna use it to you were gonna be able to use this fitness app and track your steps and your reps and all this kind of stuff in the gym, and you were gonna be able to challenge your friends and your family to basically try to accomplish a goal before you, right, or before them. And in doing that, if you won the challenge, you were gonna be able to give back to a charity of your choice. So all the steps you got, all the miles you ran or reps you lifted or whatever, we're gonna convert into dollars that you could donate. So that was the concept I was working on at first, because I was actually an exercise science major in undergrad. So yeah. But I started discovering, like I said, entrepreneurship and just started going full force with that. So not that you can't combine the two. This was my way of doing that. But I gave this pitch, and it was a 90-second pitch, and that's my team member up there with me. And I thought I killed it, right? I thought it was absolutely amazing. But these were the judges' reactions. They were confused, right? It wasn't clear what I was trying to do, right? I wasn't credible because they would ask me questions to clarify, right? And I didn't have a strong answer, right? So I didn't know what I was talking about. And unfortunately, a lot of people have these same challenges, right? So this is Shark Tank, and they're reacting like this to someone who was even more established and developed than I was. But I learned from that opportunity, right? And I took that, and I remember walking out of the pitch and walking out of the building and walking back to my dorm that night, and I was like, you know what? Next time, I got it. I remember that. I remember it clear as day. It was nighttime, actually. But that's what has driven me to get better and to continue to practice. So just three other things that have been really helpful is acting as if, right? So what does that mean to you? What does acting as if mean to you?
As if you already know.
Act as if you already know. Yeah. Has anybody ever had experience with imposter syndrome? You know what that is? Yeah. Fake it till you make it? Yeah. What is imposter syndrome? How do you define it?
So imposter syndrome is kind of feeling well, for me personally, it's I know what I know, but when I'm in a situation to execute what I know, it's kind of maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep. Big time. Anybody else have a different definition or similar? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, absolutely. And what I found has been helpful is, since we're all Black business owners, Black entrepreneurs, Black people trying to make it, right? When it comes to pitching new ideas, if it's something that maybe hasn't been done before or maybe something you've never executed on before, you can't show up and present the idea and be I don't know, right? We're gonna try and see what happens. You gotta be I'm confident, we're gonna make it happen. I'm the person for the job and we're gonna do this, right? So what's been helpful for me is actually when I go into a competition or a pitch, I will visualize me winning, me with the check at the end, right? I'm acting as if I've already won. I'm acting as if I've already secured the bag. So that gives me the confidence to convey my message in a way that to me is saying this thing is already a reality. To me, it's real. I'm trying to convince you that it's real, right? So if I can act as if then that helps me get that message across. Third thing, like I said, is know your audience. So I've been in a bunch of different types of pitches. I've pitched to investors, right? So an investor is called an investor because they're potentially going to invest money into your business. But guess what? They want that money back, right? This is not you pitching for a small business loan, right? It's different. If you're pitching to an investor, they probably want equity in your business, right? And they probably want you to create a business that becomes very large so that they can get a very significant return on their investment. So you have to understand, if you're pitching to that type of person, what are the things I need to convey? Part of that is, hi, I'm Garry. I'm building a tech company. It's going to be huge. You're going to make a lot of money. That's what they want to hear. Or if you're pitching, let's see. So I've also pitched to, as I mentioned, I pitched to the county government, right? And I said, hey, what you told me is that you don't have the capacity to support the entrepreneurs in the community, but you would like to contribute to a more inclusive startup ecosystem in Delaware. So I would like to help you do that. And here's how I can help you do that, right? So I turn my messaging and I design the solution in a way that directly correlates with what they want, right? So I think, was it Miss Walker, right, who was talking earlier today? She was saying that it's all about, I took all these notes and everything, but she said you have to know your audience, right? You have to understand that you have leverage, right? My leverage was saying, hey, I'm the person who has access to the entrepreneurs that you're saying you can't find, right? So I can pull together the program to support them. But then it's also about knowing what matters to the other party that you're talking to or negotiating with. And then last but not least is practice, practice, practice. Simple enough, right? Does anybody like practice? I like practice. Yeah, love practice, right? In the beginning when I was pitching, I did not practice a lot, but I realized that if there were certain things I wanted to say in my pitch, I was not going to remember them unless I practiced like a madman, right? So there was one pitch I did where I stayed in the entrepreneurship center on campus. I had a key card, so I had 24/7 access, right? So I locked myself in that building the night before the competition, right? So I'm in the building, only person there. I memorized my script. I was gonna have 5 minutes to pitch on this huge stage the next day, and midnight hit, and I decided to change my script. I scrapped the whole thing. I was like, you know what? I don't like it. It's not good enough. Back to the drawing board. So then from midnight till about 5 a.m., I'm in that building trying to figure it out, right? Like trying to reconstruct this pitch. And, you know, needless to say, I did not memorize the pitch because it was late. I had not slept. I had probably didn't even eat. And I was basically like working at the pitch competition too. So I had to be at the event space super early and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I get up on the stage and everything just escaped my mind. It was gone. Like it was bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. But that was because, it wasn't because necessarily like I didn't practice, but I did set myself up for failure, right? I didn't have enough time to practice a winning pitch.
I find you should always go with your first mind. You know, because once you second guess yourself, you got the first one and the second one, and it gets foggy, it crosses over. Even if the first one doesn't work, at least you can get it over.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep, and I think even like, so I say like, for people who are presenting, you shouldn't try to necessarily like memorize the script itself, because if you get to a certain point in your script, in your mind while you're presenting, you'll hit a certain point and then maybe you forget the next sentence and then that trips you up entirely. Because you're like, all right, I can't keep going because I don't know the next sentence. Maybe I know the sentence after that and the rest of it, but if I can't, I'm trying to think of this sentence I just forgot up here in front of all these people, you're gonna get tripped up and you're gonna look bad, right? So I use the practice more as a way to know, like, these are the points I know I have to hit in my pitch, right? As long as I hit these points, I'm winning, right? I know from practicing it that if I forget any part of it, I can jump in and fill it in with some other part, right, throughout the pitch. And, you know, usually like if you're doing a pitch competition, there are different types and you'll have a different amount of time. So there are 90-second pitches, there are 5-minute pitches, there are 10-minute pitches. So of course the amount of practice you have to put in for a 10-minute pitch is probably more than a 90-second pitch, maybe. But, you know, it's up to you. So everybody get it? Was that clear? Enough? All right, so we got like 5 minutes. Barry's gonna come in here and pull me out of here if we're not done by, what is it, 2:15? So that was me pitching. We're not going to go into all of that. Actually, I will tell you really quickly. So I flew out to Texas and I got to pitch to Arlen Hamilton, who is a black woman who bootstrapped her own investment firm and is investing in underrepresented entrepreneurs, right? So, and she was homeless while she was raising the money to invest in other startup companies run by people that look like us, right? So I had the opportunity to pitch to her. Also a part of that panel was Angie Nwandu. She's the founder of the Shade Room. Yeah, everybody know the Shade Room? It's a, I don't even know how to describe it.
We're black people get together and talk.
Right.
Nobody knows what we're talking about, but now it's on social media.
Yes. So yeah, and I hesitate because I'm like, the first thing I want to say is it's an Instagram page, but it's so much more than that. They started as an Instagram page, but it's kind of like, it's like a blog, it's a platform for news and yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it's a lot of shade on the Shade Room about like celebrity drama, blah, blah, blah. So I got to pitch to her, and then another gentleman named Joe Spearman, who's a tech entrepreneur based in Texas, who has a company that's all about helping people travel all around the world. So part of my winning pitch to get them to pick me as the winner was knowing my audience. So I did my research on each and every one of them. I was listening to their podcasts, I was reading articles, I'm on their Twitter pages. I'm trying to figure out what matters to them, right? And I construct my pitch in a way that my messaging aligns with things that they've said and they care about. So really it's like you've already won, because you're just mirroring back to them, right? What they already know, what they care about, what they've said. But if they don't know that I've done that research and they don't know that, I put all that work in, to them it's like, oh, like he really knows me, right? It just came with time. I think after doing so many pitches and not winning, I had to start figuring out, all right, what is it going to take? And at some point, yeah, that's a good question. I have to figure out at what point did I realize?
Great idea. I just wondered where.
Yeah, I think it just came from just like, I was like, wow, he just told me no. How do I get him to say yes? How do I do that? And it's like I need to understand that person a little bit more. That's what I did. All right. Now,
I had a question.
Yeah.
With the pitches, not the competition or anything, but we're doing our pitch. How long should your pitch be as far as you advertising your business or your
That's for you to figure out, right? So if they say, people use this concept of like an elevator pitch. Yeah. So if you're on an elevator and the boss or like this investor is on there with you, you have until they get off at their stop, right, to convey your message across and get them to invest in you, right? So maybe it's 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But like use that as like a base to start, right? So maybe you're talking to somebody on the street and they got to get somewhere. So you have them for a limited amount of time. You need to have a pitch ready that is maybe 1 or 2 sentences to get them interested, right? They're not going to just invest in you just because you told them just a little bit, right? But you need to get them interested at least.
How about investors or people that want to get like loans? How long?
Yeah, so all right, so loans are different, right? If you need a loan for a small business, you can probably schedule an appointment, right? Chelsea would know more about that than I would, so you should probably talk to her. But Enterprise Center, go there. But yeah, so if you're asking for investment, right? If you're doing a startup company where you need investment dollars, typically if you're invited to pitch to investors, you have maybe an hour, right? They might give you 30 minutes, they might give you 10 minutes, but usually you're scheduling a meeting for like an hour, right? And those like longer meetings come after you have some sort of like initial conversation. So you might be at a networking event and you're able to talk to somebody for maybe like 2 minutes, right? They're like, you know what? Reach out to my secretary and schedule a meeting with me, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that's that. It's always different, and it's different for different situations, I guess. But I wanted to allow a little bit of time for you all, or at least some people, to practice their pitches. So I've actually invited Jason to show us or demonstrate a solid pitch. So Jason is actually, I'll let you do it. But so you all are going to act as if you are investors, right? You all have collectively $1 million to invest in one. Yeah. Well, all right. You could throw you.
I mean, while we're.
You got money. All right. So,
We may as well do it.
all right, 10 million. You got more?
Yes.
All right. Follow up afterwards. Follow up afterwards. So you all are the investors, right? Jason is going to pitch his business, and it's up to you to decide whether or not he's credible, if his pitch was clear. And I don't even remember my other thing. Ain't that bad? But yeah, got it? Cool. I'm gonna give you 60 seconds, brother. Cool.
Good morning, or good afternoon. My name is Jason Coles, and I am the founder and CEO of Katika. How do you currently find Black-owned businesses today? Chances are you crowdsource information on platforms like Facebook, GroupMe, or you use platforms that weren't built for us like Google. Have you ever tried to Google a black plumber? The first results are not black plumbers. But what if there was a platform that you didn't have to type in black anything? You just simply typed in the service or the product and you found it. That platform is Katika. Katika is the first two-in-one marketplace and business directory that connects the entire diaspora and allows you to find services and products from people that look just like us. Our competition is official Black Wall Street, and we buy black. We have a superior technology to theirs that allows us to both have a marketplace and directory as standalone products, whereas they only service one side of each of those. Currently, we make money through our directory, which is free to sign up. And we make money through advertising, and we also make money through our transaction in the marketplace. We charge a 5% transaction fee per transaction per item, and a listing fee of 20 cents. The market size for this is tremendous. So in Black consumer spending dollars, there are 1.2 trillion spending dollars. There, just in the top 5 product categories, there's over $1 billion. So we want to capture just a small percentage of beauty products, healthcare products, as well as consumer grooming products as well. So the team is comprised of myself. I have a partner in South Africa who heads Katika Africa, and as well as a team of 10 people here who work out of our space at the Penn Innovation Center. If you're interested in investing, we are doing a crowdfunding platform called WeFunder, and you can contact us at the end of today. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, that was 2 minutes, by the way, brother. But I was like, I'm gonna let him rock out. Yeah, of course.
What does Katika mean?
Katika is Swahili word that means inclusive. Yeah. So we took Black Wall Street, so Greenwood, and the Green Book, and combined it together. So, like I said, whether you're looking for a service, so if you're a doctor, a plumber, electrician, etc., you'll be on the directory side. If you have a physical product that you want to sell, you can sign up for the marketplace. It's free to sign up on both. And we're in all 50 states. And
your people out there.
Oh, yep. Got a great team.
One more question, real quick.
Yeah, I love the whole concept. Does it say on your platform, does it give you the definition of Katika and the origin of the word?
And the about us.
Okay.
Because
the only reason that stood out for me is because I wouldn't know how to differentiate. You were with Black Wall Street, boom.
Right.
I totally understand what that is.
Right, and I normally, that was the reason we did call it Katika, because our platform is for the diaspora, right? So someone in South Africa might not know what Black Wall Street is.
No, but that's okay.
But I'm just giving you the reason why we call it.
Okay, yeah.
But when people do find out the meaning, it conveys something, it connects it.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Thank you.
All right, so let's clap it up for him real quick, please. All right, so was he confident?
Yes.
All right, one check. Got 1 point. All right, was he credible? Was he credible?
Yeah.
I forgot my
Well, how's he credible? Yeah, how's he credible?
I usually go into my background,
But no worries. Why is he credible to you?
Can you provide some information as how his service differentiates between the competitors? And he gave some numbers as far as the statistics and
sure.
the need.
He knows what he's
for
talking
the
about.
service, so there was credibility there.
Definitely. You were gonna say something? Okay, yep. So yeah, there are different ways to convey how you're
Also,
credible.
going back to when everyone was giving their feedback, someone had said that credibility was honesty about what you do. He was very honest about what he does.
Yep. And I don't know if you mentioned it, or if you did you give stats about how many people are currently on your platform, the transactions that you've made, like those things. If you knew that, look, wallets would be out right now. I think checkbooks and everything. I don't know. No checkbook.
Take the wallet out, but ain't nothing in it.
Daggone, brother. All right, we in the wrong room. All right, and was he clear? You get it. You understand what Katika is? Yeah? Is anybody unclear? No? Well, congratulations, brother.
I also like that you didn't use any filler words. I don't know that a lot of people are hung up on that, but for me, when I'm listening, it drives me mad to hear a lot of filler words back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you didn't use any.
And to be honest, that takes practice, like, because, you know,
Practice.
we all know each other from pitching, you know, throughout the past 2 years or more. But two things that I noticed in my pitching, and because I would ask people to, you know, record me and I would look at it afterwards. One, I talk with my hands a lot. Somebody, I think,
She said, don't do that.
So like, whenever I was saying, I'm like, hey, and you know, this and that's distracting, right? So I started either putting my hands in my pockets, start off like this. You know, that was one thing, and then the other thing was just taking pregnant pauses. When I forget something, just, you know, look down, think about it for a second, and start back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
about, you know, critiquing yourself and being honest with yourself.
So what do we think? Is he getting the investment?
Yes.
Oh, Chelsea's like, I don't know.
How much?
Yeah.
I think he did a great job. I would go back to the marketing of it to say that, to state what it actually is. You know, you mentioned something, when people find out, and this is a lazy economy, they shouldn't have to find out. You should give it to them. So that's the first thing. The second thing, obviously, you talked about data, right? Having some information and talk about how does this become now compelling. Make it compelling. That data makes it compelling. And then the third thing is your call to action. Just make it stronger. So if there's anyone that's interested, as a matter of fact, from the presentation I just now gave, anyone that's like interested but has some more questions, could you raise your hands, please? Okay, great. I look forward to meeting you afterwards. And for anyone that's ready to go right now, here's the link. Your call to action, just make it that compelling.
That's right. That's right. All right. And then last but not least, my call to action for you all. First of all, thank you everyone for attending my session. I really appreciate it. If you have any follow-up questions, if you want to talk afterwards, I will be here for the rest of the event. Please follow me at Garry Johnson 3, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. Connect with me. I'm always posting content about entrepreneurship in general. And you can actually go to first-founders.com to take our free online course. So I'll be taking tomorrow to record this whole presentation and put up a module that's focused on how to pitch. But over the next few weeks, we'll be adding videos taking you through the whole curriculum of the First Founders Accelerator. So how do you identify problems? How do you pick the right one to try to solve? How do you design a solution for your target customers? How do you find people to talk to and interview? How do you pitch? How do you identify the right type of funding? We're gonna be talking about all that stuff, right? And that's everything that's covered in my First Founders Accelerator that I started in Delaware. And I wanted to create this as an opportunity to scale that up a little bit more and create even more access. So hopefully we can do even more workshops like this throughout Philly. I am a part of the YPAC, the Young Professional Advisory Council, with the Chamber. So you'll definitely see me around at all the events. But that's about it. Thank you again. Please clap it up for yourselves. Did I do all right? Okay. All right. Just making. I mean, I'm over time, so.
No, that's good.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to get started on our next panel very shortly. Just about 2-3 more minutes, so please stay in your seat. And I'm going to say where you are as well. I just got to grab a few more people, and then we're going to get started. Thank you. And can we get one more big round of applause for Garry, please?
Thank you. Oh, stop.